With the exception of Napoleon Bonaparte, few men were more influential on the military tactics and strategy of 19th century warfare than Antoine-Henri Jomini, and yet the introduction for a 1947 English translation of Jominis Art of War noted, "The military world that today burns gunpowder at the altar of Clausewitzian doctrine has all but forgotten Antoine-Henri Jomini." The author of that introduction, Lieutenant Colonel J.D. Little of the U.S. Marine Corps, was right then, and he remains correct today. While Carl von Clausewitz's aphorisms are still used to support everything from military action to business management, the work of his contemporary writer, Jomini, has been all but forgotten. During the Napoleonic era and throughout the 19th century, however, the situation was very different. Jomini was regarded as the preeminent strategist and writer of his generation, while Clausewitz was virtually unknown outside the general staff of the Prussian army. In the intervening period, Clausewitz has come to be regarded as the most important writer and strategic analyst of the period, whereas the writings of Jomini have been discarded and largely ignored. As a result, many military historians and strategists have only recently begun to understand how important Jomini was and how relevant his writings remain today. In lamenting what had happened to Jomini's reputation, Little asserted, "No man in the history of war has exerted a greater influence on the development of modern warfare than Napoleon Bonaparte. No man has been more responsible for Napoleon's influence as Antoine-Henri Jomini." Again, Little had a point, because unlike Clausewitz, the writings of Jomini had a direct influence on the conduct of wars during the 19th century. While Clausewitz was not widely read outside Prussia and later Germany until the final years of the 19th century, few generals in Europe and America were unfamiliar with Jomini's works, and many used his Summary of the Art of War as their main guide to strategy and tactics. Why is it that Jomini has been forgotten, while Clausewitz's name is now far more famous than it ever was during his lifetime? One of the reasons is that Clausewitz attempted to develop a philosophy of war that went well beyond the mechanics of combat. Such a philosophy is timeless, precisely because it is not linked to the tactics or weapons of a particular period. This is made evident by the fact that as recently as the First Gulf War, 1990–91, senior military leaders in the coalition against Iraq were quoting Clausewitz in support of their strategy. Jomini, however, viewed warfare not as a philosophical excursive, but as a science, with principles that could be derived from a study of the past masters of war and applied to any situation. This lacked the grand overview presented by Clausewitz, but it provided military men with a set of easily comprehensible rules of warfare. If Clausewitz was the master of strategy, Jomini was an early exponent of a tactical view of warfare, and as many military leaders came to understand, in the chaos of battle, a simple set of rules is more easily applied than a grand philosophy.